Hello everybody. It is starting to look a lot like Christmas, at least it is here in Hong Kong. We have lights and decorations everywhere. All of the malls are playing Christmas music. I am trying to avoid losing at the game of Whamageddon. If you're wondering what that is, it's where you try and not hear Last Christmas by Wham. The original version, instrumentals are fine or covers are fine, but the original version until at least December the 25th, I'm doing quite well, so fingers crossed. Please don't come up to me in the street and start playing it at me or I am in big trouble. Now, because it's nearly Christmas, that means it's nearly the end of the year, the end of 2021, which has been an odd year. It's sort of the year after COVID was huge, but COVID is still huge, and lots of people haven't been able to travel, and things have been really quite fraught in the tech sector. So what I'm going to do for this video, and I think it'll be my last one of the year, I'm going to take some time off. I'm planning to get through my video game backlog by 2022. I have absolutely no chance. You should see my Steam unplayed games list. It is quite embarrassing. But I'm going to talk about my predictions for 2022 and what I think will happen. Now, I must stress, these are personal opinion only. I must also stress, take these with a little bit of a pinch of salt, because I'm not very good at gambling, and I don't really gamble because I always lose. So if I bet on a horse, you can guarantee he'll just start running off the wrong way. If I was to bet on roulette and bet on both red and black simultaneously, I would probably get green, or whatever the zero number is that I think is a bit of a, what's it called, a juice? I don't know. That's because I don't gamble very often. So take these with a bit of a pinch of salt. But I've got 7 predictions for 2022, some more outlandish than others, but let's run through. See if you agree, let me know what your predictions are for the coming year, and then maybe we'll look at them at the end of 2022 and see if any of them came true. So number 1. I think that the technology world will become even more fractured, and we will see an increased separation of tech between East and between West. Now, China has always been a completely separate internet, to be perfectly honest. It's all behind the Great Firewall. It has its own tech ecosystem, its own tech companies. Some of those have broken into the West. Very few technology companies have been allowed to remain in China. I would think we will see greater separation. It will be harder for Chinese companies to essentially invest in Western tech, I suppose. It'd be hard for Chinese tech companies to actually list on the stock exchanges in the West, and we're seeing that already. Look at what's been happening to Didi in recent weeks, actually, I was about to say months. But I think this will continue. We will find that companies are very wary of dealing with China, and then China's very wary of dealing with the rest of the world. I think this is a bad thing. I think we're going to lose a lot of innovation in the process, but I think it's inevitable for geopolitical reasons. So we will have a separation between East and West tech. We will see how far that goes, if it does actually make it more difficult for people who operate in multiple jurisdictions, such as myself. At the moment, it's been okay, but we will see. Who knows? Number 2 prediction is that we will see more people, when I say people, mainly billionaires, going into space. And you're thinking, great, Paul, what a great suggestion. But I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. So we saw a bunch of billionaires, so Elon Musk do it, Jeff Bezos do it, even Richard Branson, though he didn't really go that far into space, all spend an absolute fortune going into space, and they could have probably solved some of the world's bigger problems like world hunger, or indeed maybe helped to stop the climate change crisis. But I do think this isn't a bad thing they're doing this, because some of the technology that's being developed, and we're seeing states, China's on a massive mission to go into space seemingly every week. Well, I think we will see some of the technology related to that trickling down, and we'll find stuff that changes the way that technology works in our everyday lives. There'll be new technologies that we've never seen before that have been developed for space use, which become increasingly relevant for what we're doing here on planet Earth. And some of those, I think, will go into my prediction number 3, which is that we're going to see a massive emphasis over the course of 2022 on ecotech. This is technology innovation, technology projects that save the planet. This will massively affect the infrastructure sector, hugely. I think the move towards sustainability is now unstoppable, which is a very good thing. And we will see more companies willing to invest in ecotech technology, which can actually essentially help us achieve net zero and beyond. But also for startups, we will see an increasing number of technology startups who are thinking, this is probably the way to lead things. And I think we'll see a real paradigm shift over the course of the year. I don't know any major entity who is not focused on trying to solve the climate change problem in some regard at this point. Even law firms are working towards it, and you think, what do law firms have to do with climate change? Well, actually, very surprisingly, it's more than you think. So some interesting stuff going on there. However, whilst we'll all be using space technology, we'll find that we're not using data as easily as we used to. Prediction number 4 is I think that use of data worldwide is going to become more difficult. So we've seen, obviously we saw the GDPR, which I maintain is a really good law, and I do like it a lot, and it protects personal data. But more and more entities, more and more states are now passing what they use as their own personal data protection law, or at least a data protection law that protects state data. Now the ones that I'm mainly focused on, and my God, if I've been busy dealing with it lately, is the Chinese Personal Information Protection Law and the Chinese Data Security Law. Now the Data Security Law, that's one that very, very much protects data that China wants to keep safe, and it doesn't just apply to personal data. We will see other jurisdictions adopt this approach as well, and I think eventually, I've said this before, if you're a data lawyer, you're going to be very, very busy indeed. If you're a law student who wants to think, how can I make sure that I've always got loads and loads of work, what sort of area should I specialize in? Data law. If you're a multinational, then my God, I really feel for you, because you operate in multiple jurisdictions. You need to know the data law in every single one of those jurisdictions, and they are changing all the time and becoming more and more restrictive. I think that will continue. I also think in Hong Kong, we will finally see a change to the Personal Data Privacy Ordinance. We'll finally get a proper change, not just one that deals with doxing, but a real overhaul of the law to bring it up into the 21st century. It may look like the GDPR. I think it will look more like the Chinese Personal Information Protection Law, to be perfectly honest. I don't have any inside info on that, but I'm pretty sure that's what we'll end up with. But we'll also get in Hong Kong a fake news law, which that will then control certain dissemination of data. We have no idea what that looks like yet. Some people fear the worst, think it's a gateway to censorship. But we will see. The definition of fake news is one that I don't think it's very easy for anyone to actually put a finger on, and I think therein lies the risk. But that will be an interesting area. On to more frivolous things. Prediction number 5. We will see a battle for the Metaverse, which does sound like an 80s maybe, sci-fi movie, Battle Beyond the Stars, which I recommend if you like really cheesy sci-fi. But it's not. People are going to start investing in the Metaverse. They're going to start trying to define what it is, and most of all, they're going to try and make sure that they have control. Obviously, Meta, Facebook is leading the way, but more and more companies will jump on that bandwagon and see how they can make money out of it. The Metaverse will not necessarily be this glorious thing where we're all playing games and having fun together online. It will be a way for people to make money. I'm afraid that any new technology that's really cool always ends up being a way for people to make money, and sometimes it loses its original spirit. We'll see if that happens with the Metaverse too. Talking of which, we will find cryptocurrency still remains as volatile as ever. That's prediction number 6. The main bit of my 6th prediction is we will see an explosion in the use of state-backed digital currencies. So we've got the digital yuan, the digital renminbi, or whatever you want to call it, which is now at maturity. It now can be used. It will probably roll out during the Winter Olympics. Most likely it will be used predominantly there. But then there will be a big push from China to get other people to use it. I think most states are behind this in terms of they're not keeping up, not that they're supporting it, but I think most of them now have lost momentum, and they will all push to have their own state-owned digital currency, but, excuse me, they may be too late. They'll all want one, but will we end up seeing it replace fiat currency? No, but I don't think we'll actually catch up with China for a few more years. That's probably 2023. So it remains to see how the Chinese one is actually used. Who knows? And the last prediction I have may seem like something from a sci-fi movie, or it may feel like something from one of my beloved sci-fi novels. But we'll see increased amounts of cyber attacks. That's not a prediction, that is a fact. Cyber attacks will never go away. Ransomware will never go away. Lots and lots of money will be stolen. But my prediction number 7 is that we will see a nation somewhere, and I hope this isn't the case, but I kind of think it might happen, somewhere will declare a cyber attack, a state-sanctioned or suspected state-sanctioned cyber attack, as some sort of act of war, or come close to it. It may seem like an outlandish prediction, but you can see something awful happening in any jurisdiction somewhere around the world. It gets blamed on a particular state, doesn't really matter who it is. Don't automatically blame North Korea, the Russians, or China. It could be anyone. And that could lead to some sort of escalation. Now, I'm not suggesting then we'll all start blowing each other up with missiles, but I think CyberWar, which does sound kind of cool, even though it isn't, but I think CyberWar will become a big thing. So there we go. 7 predictions. Let me know which ones you agree with, let me know which ones you disagree with, and give me your predictions as well. I've obviously focused predominantly on tech and a bit on law, but there are predictions and other things. Maybe finally we'll get the jetpacks that I've been hoping for since I was 4 years old. I can only hope. I haven't even got the flying cars yet, so frankly I'm disappointed. Anyway, hope you enjoyed 2021. Thank you for watching my videos and contributing. I couldn't have done anything without the feedback I've received, and it has been awesome. I hope you have a great Christmas, whatever you're celebrating actually. Christmas, end of year, Winterval, whatever you want to call it, Hanukkah. I don't know where all these things are. I'm really bad at remembering. In fact, the spirit of Christmas for me was inevitably getting some new piece of tech as a gift. So I hope you have a technological, exciting Christmas and a great new year, and I will see you very, very soon. Take care.